Before we proceeded to the main palace marketplace, we took some time to visit a small food market where we would be able to find a warm meal together we could share. You could see that these past few days of vigorous activity had put a strain on my sister-in-law, and although I could see she was excited about exploring the palace marketplace, it was clear she was going to tire out soon. As we entered the marketplace courtyard, there were so many sights and sounds of busy people, talking and laughing as they roamed the streets lined with many little shops of different items for sale. I could hear the clash of many different musical instruments, and all the while there were magicians and jugglers vying for their fair share of public attention. There was so much going on it was hard to focus on any one thing. The elderly woman accompanying us wrapped her arm around my sister-in-law to help support her as they walked, and although her posture indicated she was exhausted, she had a brightness in her eye and a relaxed smile on her face. She seemed genuinely happy to be here. Observing her mood at that moment, I felt as if I had been able to fulfill my promise to my brother, and it felt really good inside. In fact, realizing that making someone else happy for a change was probably the best feeling I had ever experienced. I approached the two women and confronted my sister-in-law and asked her if there was something special she was looking for. Smirking back at me, she said, "The baby will be here soon, and this market has some of the finest fabrics that can be bought anywhere. I just wanted to pick up some things to make the child a few changes of clothes." As usual, her focus was on taking care of someone else she cared about. But after this trip, I am starting to understand how her unselfish persona has had its own rewards. Passing along the main row, I stopped at a vendor selling paper and brushes. As I ran my hand over the paper, you could feel the quality of it was of the highest possible standard. I tried to get the attention of the vendor to ask how much a few sheets of this fine paper would cost me, but my sister-in-law reached over and put her hand on top of mine, pushing it down to return the paper to where I had picked it up. Reaching over, she picked up a leather-bound journal with many pages of this same high-quality paper inserted. Holding it up high over her head for the vendor to see, and then motioning to him to get his attention. She seemed very comfortable with this process, as if she had done it many times before. He held up 3 fingers revealing his asking price, but she shook her head no adamantly and gestured back with 2 fingers. The vendor seemed flustered, but since he had many other customers waiting, he nodded in agreement. She then reached under her upper garment and removed 2 coins and handed them to him. He smiled and thanked her. Running her hand over the leather-bound journal, she said, "I have an eye for good quality merchandise, and this journal will last you a lifetime." She handed it to me. "This is for you. Thanks so much for doing this for me. I will always remember this trip and the effort you made for me to be able to do this. You should use this to record your thoughts and experiences," she suggested. "Something tells me, you will live an extraordinary life." I was touched by her gesture, and although I didn't expect anything in return, I was honored to accept her gift. Moving forward toward the center of the market, we encountered many more vendors selling fine silk. My sister-in-law along with her elderly guide went through each batch selecting the various materials to bring back with us. It seemed funny to me they could get so excited shopping for something as simple as fabric, but without question, they enjoyed the experience immensely. And yet, seeing them so happy caught up in the moment, also made me feel very good at heart. I've heard it said that time passes quickly when you are finding enjoyment in life, and this day was passing by swiftly. It seemed both of my companions were feeling the fatigue of the day's events. Taking a seat for a moment in the middle of the market, the 2 women glanced around looking and pointing at some of the activities going on around us. Looking at each other, my sister-in-law struggled to get up. Turning to me, she extended her hand looking for assistance getting back up. Rushing to her side, I grabbed a hold of her right arm as the elder took hold of her left, and we hoisted her to her feet. As we started walking, my sister-in-law reached over and squeezed my hand again, thanking me for the day we shared as we began to head back to the armory to rest before heading out in the morning.